Hi everyone, Vickieverlie here, Rock and Roll Prophetess. Today we're going to take a look at this new moon chart. It's occurring on September 6th in the US, but it may be on the 7th in other places, but it's September 6th at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Time. My name is Vickieverlie. I'm the Rock and Roll Prophetess. I have studied astrology for many years, and I also do tarot, and I do channeling, and a lot of different things, and you can find out more about that by going in the links below and checking out my website. But today we're going to look at this full moon. It's a new moon. Ooh, did you hear that rumbling? This is thunder. It's raining. Yeah, the storm is blowing in here, which is pretty cool. So there's going to be some electric energy going on, and which is cool because the sun's trine Uranus. Yeah, it is trine Uranus over here. But anyways, before I get into it too far into it, I just want to explain real quickly that, I do channeling and psychic work and everything too. So although this is based in astrology, I do color outside the lines quite a bit. I mean, if you wanted just a strictly astrology reading and you're very rigid on that, then this might not be the forecast for you. There's going to be things coming through that you can't look up in a book because it's coming straight through my guides. And on the other hand, if you're like, wow, I don't understand astrology, this looks like a bunch of mumbo jumbo to me, hang in there, because the more we get into the reading, the more of the downloads that I get. And I do explain things pretty well. The other thing is, a lot of people say that they've learned a lot. If you're trying to kind of learn astrology, this might be something you want to tune into, because I do stop and explain things when I feel like it's necessary. So anyways, here is the new moon in Virgo. 14 degrees, exactly trining our Uranus over here. And then Uranus is also in a conjunction with Lilith here. So while Virgo may be considered a very conservative sign, it's an earth sign, it's very down to earth. It rules the 6th house of work and health, very conscientious, very detail-oriented. When you bring in the factor of Uranus, all hell could break. Anything's possible. Let's put it that way, anything's possible. I like that better than all hell breaking loose. But maybe sometimes, like with this storm that's blowing in, I was just thinking about that just as I was starting the reading. It's been, where I live, it's been super hot and humid. It's just unbearable. It's been in the 90s like every day for a couple weeks, and with the humidity factored in, it's like, ugh, it's just miserable, right? So these storms coming through and blowing in, coming through, what it's going to do is break up all that humidity and that heat and bring a fresh, new, breathable air. It's going to alleviate, suffering and stuff. And that can be, because storms I would associate with Uranus. Uranus, absolutely. And so, that can be the energy of this too. Uranus is not necessarily, even though it's in a large, it's very different. It's very contrasting to the Virgo energy. They are in a trine, so that means that they are working together. And Uranus can definitely bring through, it's like the Tower card in the tarot. It can bring through, it can shake things up, but sometimes that's needed. Maybe the status quo is thick and heavy and you can't breathe and you can't go outside. So a nice storm is going to bring through and clear all that congestion out, clear all that muck out, and open up to, just fresh ideas, things that are fresh, things that are more open. Seeing things from a higher perspective is always the case with Uranian energy. And then Lilith is here too. Lilith is, a lot of times people give Lilith a bad rap, but if you look into the mythology of Lilith, she was way ahead of her time. I could see her, with the Uranian energy working well, because she was a woman ahead of her time. She wanted her freedom. That's Uranian energy. She didn't want to be subservient to Adam. She was Adam's first wife in the, Bible mythology, or whatever you want to call it. And, she wanted to be independent, and she wanted to be equal. That was the thing. And that's another big thing of Uranian energy. Everyone is equal. We're all equal. We're all part of I'm hearing the cosmic brotherhood. Okay, we'll take that. Let's all be part of the cosmic brotherhood, because Uranus also rules, outer space, ETs, and things like that. So they're wanting to work together here in a nice trine energy. And there's also a trine up here too. That's not a trine, that's a square, excuse me. But anyways, let's get back. I want to talk about Virgo energy a little bit more. So Virgo is very dutiful, very, can be subservient. definitely wants to help, wants to be of help, wants to be of service. So if we take this at its highest expression, everything in astrology has a positive and a negative expression. It's not like, oh, Saturn's bad and Pluto is bad, but Venus is good. Every single planet in every single luminary in the astrology thing, it's based on mythology. They're named after mythological creatures or stories. But also there is a positive and negative expression of it. Just like your natal birth chart, just like the transits to your natal birth chart. There's a positive and a negative expression of it all. So one of the highest things that could be expressed through this Virgo Uranus? Virgo Uranus. Is it Virgish? It's kind of Virgish. Virgo Uranus is, for the good of all, being of service. You don't have to take it to the extreme, which can be the downfall of Virgo, where they just give all their energy away. They just are used up, so used up. You have to keep some energy for yourself. But through higher consciousness. The Uranian part of the equation is very much ideas oriented. It's very much forward thinking, tuning into higher dimensional things, being futuristic. And then it's like Uranus gets the downloads and the ideas, and then passes it off to Virgo. And Virgo takes the ball and runs with it. It's like, okay, well, what needs to be done? I like what you're saying, Uranus. I like what you're vibing on. I like what you're presenting. I like what you're, bringing forth. So how can I help? How can I help? What can I do? Boots on the ground. That's Virgo all day long. What can I do, boots on the ground, to really get things rolling, to really, bring it in, because Virgo is an earth sign, to bring it down into the earthly reality. Another connection, there is a slight connection between the Virgo and Uranus. At this moment in time, the Mercury is the co-ruler of Virgo still. We haven't found the true ruler of Virgo. By ruler, of course, I mean over here, 6th house Virgo Mercury. And Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. So there's this mercurial connection. I want to jump over to Mercury because Mercury's involved in a big grand trine, it looks like here, yeah. Well, sort of. It's trining Saturn for sure. This is something I've been doing by the way, I have the ingress readings available. And this chart, Mercury is very pivotal in the Libra ingress chart, because I've been looking at that, people have been ordering that. Well, it looks like we have a grand trine here. And it's in there with the node. They just don't count the node and a series. So we've got a grand trine in air. We've got Mercury trine Saturn, trine the north node conjunct the series here. So Mercury is real pivotal, and it's real pivotal in the Libra ingress chart. Now the Libra ingress chart covers from this month of September all the way through to the end of the year as it relates to your chart. So you can find out about that if you're interested in the links below. But so there's this grand trine, and the fact that we have Saturn trining the north node here, these are both very karmic placements. These are things that I definitely look at in the other chart reading that I offer in the soul reading chart, because that will, in your natal wheel, Saturn, the north node, Chiron, 12th house, these things are going to show like your past life soul journey stuff. So we are all, with this grand trine, we are all, well, we always are. We're always trying to align with our true soul path and everything, but it's really coming into focus here. Because one of the things that Mercury does is bring things into focus. It brings into clarity. It rules our mental mind. It allows our mental mind to comprehend these higher esoteric things, like the things of Uranus and, to some extent Saturn, but the outer planets and the higher realms of consciousness outside of the 3D reality. We need our mental, they're always floating around in the ethers. It's always out there. The universe is always broadcasting. But we need to get our mental mind connected to it in order to bring it into the 3D reality in some sort of comprehensional way that we can work with it, function with it, etc. So we're getting these downloads, we're getting these messages, both on a group and an individual level. The other thing is, because the North Node and the Series too, but the North Node in particular is in Gemini, which that's the real Gemini Mercury, that's the big time, definitely Gemini and Mercury are connected, the third house. It again emphasizes this mercurial you know, energies, the mercurial. Something about that struck me as like funny. I don't know why, or something mercurial. What is this? Isn't there a word? Oh, I'm thinking of mercuricone. Remember that? People of a certain age will remember that. There's this stuff they used to put on our sores, and if you scraped your leg, you get mercuricone on it. And it burned like hell. It was horrible. It wasn't like today when we have Bactine, you spritz it on there and it doesn't hurt. It was this like reddish orange stuff, and oh, it burned so bad. So I wonder why that the guys are coming through with that, the mercuricone thing. So I imagine that it would be like maybe something, you know, Mercury, maybe there's things that are going to burn so bad or that we really don't want to hear. Maybe there's things that we really don't want to hear because it's too painful to think about, too painful to look at. But we've got Saturn here saying you're going to look at it. Saturn's like the big boss, you know, the wise, well, Saturn's the wise elder. You know, again, Saturn gets such a bad rap, but Saturn, in fact, is the wise elder. So the wise elder, like your parents says, well, you got to put it on so you don't get an infection, so it heals, and you're just like, oh, it's going to burn, it's going to hurt. And, oops, and the North Node, in order to, you know, big part of the nodes, and what, the North Node is always the true North and what we're actually striving for in your natal wheel and by transit as well. What we're trying to align with on a soul level, part of our soul mission, etc. So in order to move forward on our soul mission, in order to go in the direction of the true north, as we are meant to do as a collective, we've got this Uranian energy, we've got Saturn in Aquarius. The reason I bring that up is because Aquarius rules Uranus, so again there's this bringing forth of the Uranian energy. Saturn's like, could be forceful. It's like, well, you're going to have to put this stuff on your, you know, on your wound in order for it to heal. You know, it might be painful. But you're going to have to, you know, look at that, think about it, talk about it, in order to clear it away, in order to clear it, in order to be free of it, in order to rise to this next level that we're all striving for. You know, we all are striving for this in our earthly incarnations. So yeah, I think that's relevant. Not irrelevant, it is relevant. So I'm looking down here, this is the, if you're not familiar, this is the aspectarian, and it just shows all the aspects. So we've got, yeah. Oh, it's also trining the moon, of course, because it's conjunct the moon. Okay, yeah, we know that. And we got the Mercury trine Saturn. Venus is doing some interesting things. Venus is squaring with Pluto and trining with Jupiter. That, I think the Venus is trining the Jupiter in the other chart, the ingress chart too. But let's take a look at that for everybody here. So we've got Venus, the planet of love and beauty, in its own home sign of Libra. So it's very powerful in its own home sign. There's a term for it, but it escapes me right now. But just know that Venus rules over Libra, and it's very powerful there. And it's conjuncting Vesta here. Vesta is the Vestal Virgins, but it's also major feminine energy. The Vestal Virgins were actually really empowered, you know, if you read into the mythology about them. They were not... I think in our modern day we put that, oh, you're like a, you know, you're such a virgin, like a newbie, or, you know, it's kind of like a, it's you know, it's kind of a diss in a way, you know. And the Vestal Virgins were not newbie about any. They were so empowered. They were like so in their power, and they were using that Kundalini energy actually to and Pluto, I'm sorry, I thought I had that turned off. I'm so sorry about that. Let me make sure I turn this down right now. I'm sorry about that. You know, they were using that powerful energy. Oh, darn, I'm sorry, I have a new phone and I don't... You know how it is when you get a new phone and you're not quite sure where all the functions are here? But at any rate, yeah, they were using that energy, that Kundalini energy, in order to... They were harnessing the power of it. And they were a very powerful group of women and embodying this powerful feminine energy. And, you know, this is squaring up with the Pluto, and that right away to me, you know, that brings forth the Kundalini energy big time with the Pluto energy. So Venus and the Vestal Virgins here, and Vesta, together, in the sign of Libra, is a very powerful force. It's a very powerful energy. It's a very powerful, but in a way that is It's not necessarily brute force. It's probably not brute force. It's probably more on the line of just, like the Empress card in the tarot. Just like being in your power. Just like being rooted in your power. Just like being, completely, even though Libra is an air sign, it is an air sign. And it does rule like the scales of justice. I mean, for some people, there could be some kind of, especially because it's trining Jupiter, there could be some sort of big, if you have some kind of legal thing coming up, it could be solved in a way where everybody's happy. Is everybody happy? I don't know what that's from. That's some old-timey thing, too. Is everybody happy? What is that? But I was searching for the Empress card here. Yeah, the Empress, she's just the goddess divine. She's empowered and she knows it, Now I'm hearing that song, I'm sexy and I know it. And I guess she's sexy. She's pregnant. I guess you could say that. But it's more just like she knows who she is. She's not, she's not stressed about anything. She knows that she's provided for. She knows that she's empowered. She knows that she is in a place of being supported in the universe, in the divine feminine. And that's very much this Venus thing. And the thing I was going to say about, too, with the trining of the Jupiter, Jupiter always brings more abundance or expands or emphasizes. So Jupiter's really emphasizing that. And again, in the sign of Aquarius. So this is, for the good of the all. It's not man versus woman or Republican versus Democrat or, this race versus that race or this religion versus that religion. It's for the good of the all, and we can all stand in our power without infringing on somebody else's power necessarily. You don't have to take away from anybody else in order. She's not trying to do anything to anybody else. She is just on her throne and in the zone. On her throne and in the zone. Yeah. I like that. I should write that down somewhere. Maybe that'll be my next... I'll use that from now on with... I need to write that down, otherwise I'll completely forget it. On the throne and in the zone. Yeah, Empress. Go, Empress. On the throne and in the zone. Got it. Okay. Yeah, so that's where the Empress is at. And that's the vibe of this energy. We can all be empowered by acknowledging somebody else and giving them, respect, and acknowledging their feelings and acknowledging, their importance. It does not diminish you. It does not have to diminish you. That comes from a mindset of lack. And with the Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius, and we've got the Uranian energy, this is all this Aquarius-Uranian energy, we have to realize that the universe is ever abundant. And by honoring somebody else, it's not all a competition. There's enough for everybody. There's plenty for everybody. Plentifulness abounds. Yeah, it does. All right, let's move down to the next thing. We've got Mars trine Pluto and Mars opposed Neptune. Yeah, I think that Mars opposed Neptune is in the other chart too, the ingress, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, so Mars opposed Neptune, people could get the wrong idea. That Mars, but here's the thing, Mars is in the sign of Virgo. Neptune can be like a misunderstanding, and then Mars could be where you get pissed off. But again, there's positive and negative. And Mars in Virgo, that's like, we could get a lot accomplished. Because Mars has a lot of energy, and Virgo's like, let's work, let's get things done. I mean, you could really work and get a lot done. Like if some kind of big project that you were that you've been thinking about, it's just like, oh, I really got to clean out that garage, or I really got to do that thing, I really got to get on that. You walk past it every day, or your yard, it's just like, oh, I really got to get back there and do some weeding or something. Well, this Mars in Virgo, bam, you could be on it. They're saying, this is kind of crude, I'm sorry if anybody's offended possibly by this, but I'm hearing on it like flies on shit. I don't go around saying that usually, but that just came through, and so I'm going to go ahead and say it. But Mars, if you harness that energy of Mars, you can really, accomplish a lot, especially when we're operating in the sign of Virgo with the Virgo energy. So yeah, there's that, and then it's trining Pluto. These are also, again, really, really powerful energies. Pluto is super powerful. Mars is super powerful. Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, and Mars was the ancient ruler of Scorpio, I believe, right? Yeah. So they both have a little bit of that scorpionic thing, but they're both very much, well, they both can be very much, Mars is the god of war, you know, and they both, Pluto can be that way, destruction and all this stuff. So they both can have that element of, you know, being really destructive, but it's just, if you can harness that energy and, you know, really, you can harness it and you can use that energy. Just because a planet is powerful and transformative, like Pluto's very transformative, you can harness that energy, and you can use it in, you know, knowledge is power. You can use that energy to transform your life, to transform pretty much anything that you're trying to do or accomplish. You know, it's powerful. It's nothing that you don't have to. If you you don't have to be afraid of it. You don't have to approach it with fear. Approach it with confidence and knowledge, and harness it, and utilize it to. And it's in the Earth signs. We've got, you know. And I believe Virgo's key phrase is "I utilize," maybe, or it's Capricorn, one of them. But we're looking at Virgo and Capricorn energy, these Earth sign energies, so we can really bring it down into the Earth and really use it and move mountains. Is what's coming through here. Okay, and then we've got the Saturn trying to know. We talked about that. Uranus, Pluto square ascendant. Okay, so yeah, so I guess that about wraps it up. But it's powerful. It's powerful energy. We can get a lot accomplished. We can get a lot accomplished under any kind of Virgo energy. That's a great time. You know, it's going to always depend, of course, where it falls in your chart. You know, if Virgo's the natural ruler of the sixth, but you know, you got to look at where it is in your chart and that house rulership and see where it goes. But accomplish a lot, get a lot done. Things about health. Anytime there's Virgo new moon, it's always going to be a good time to initiate some sort of healthy routine. Either some kind of, maybe, you know, with the Mars energy being so, it's not really, it's 10 degrees out. I wouldn't call it a conjunction, but it's in there. It's in the sign of Virgo. You know, physical, some kind of physical activity, a new workout, or just start walking, or, you know, with Virgo, it can be like out walking in nature, you know, getting out in the garden, doing some gardening. But it's also like eating habits, things like that. You know, whatever you're wanting to start that's going to make your life better and make you feel better. Maybe it is cleaning. I always think of Virgo and cleaning, you know. Virgos are great cleaner. They're great workers. I tell this story every time we have this Virgo thing, but maybe some of you haven't heard it. Years ago, my parents had a bar, and I used to work at other bars too. I worked at some nightclubs, like rock clubs and stuff. Just as I didn't work very long-term, friends, you know, they would need somebody to fill in or help out in busy shows, and I'd say, yeah, I'll work. Why not? But anyways, whenever I was working in the big clubs, you don't work the bar by yourself. You have to work, you can't handle it. You need at least 2 or 3 people behind the bar. And whenever I would see that, I loved working with Virgos the best, because they would bust ass and, you know, kick ass and take names. You know, they pulled their weight and then some, you know. They work just as hard as I did, because there was times in the bars when you're working in the bartending or service industry, you know, you can be with somebody who's, you know, not pulling their weight, and then you still got to split tips with them. And that's not fair. Me being my Capricorn sun sign, it's like, I don't want to give up my money when I did all the work, you know. But with the Virgo, you know, bam, we work side by side and kick ass, and, you know, make our money, get the job done, and get the hell out of there. You know, that's, you know. So I always enjoyed working with Virgos. I always say this too, when I want to get stuff done in my house or whatever. If I want, my mechanic's actually an Aries, but I think he's got Virgo rising. My mechanic, people that, you know, construction kind of fix-it people that I need work done in my house or different things. I always get a Virgo, because Virgos will, you know, they will get the job done and they'll do it right. So even if so even if you're not feeling like I want to get up and go clean my house or, do my yard work, if you're going to hire somebody to do it, this would be a good time too. You could find somebody who would they have a good work ethic. They definitely have a really good work ethic. Like they just cannot do a bad job. They just cannot. Unless possibly if they have a bunch of Libra in their chart, because Libras are great. I love my daughters are Libras. You don't have to comment. I'm not putting Libras down, but Libra is known as lazy Libra. That's a negative thing, and that's a negative thing of too much Venus energy. So like Venus is good, like I was talking about earlier. Well, Venus is good and Saturn is bad. No, too much Venus is excess, laziness. So there's always a negative and positive to both sides, but for the most part, you want a job done, get the Virgo to do it. You want to hire somebody, if you're an employer and you're looking to hire somebody for any kind of, in a company that you own or whatever, get those Virgos working for you. You won't be sorry. I'm serious though. I'm laughing, but you won't be sorry. So it's work, but it's work that's worth the effort, if it's within your own life, if you're not looking to hire out somebody, whatever kind of thing, if there's some kind of big project that you're wanting to tackle, even if it's not, it could be some kind of, maybe you're going to redesign your website, or some kind of, those are the things that I hate doing too. It's like my website definitely needs a big overhaul, and I've been putting it off. So, something like that, something that's like this huge job and you just don't want to do it. You just don't want to deal with it. This is the time to do it. You'll make great progress, you'll get it done in a timely fashion, and you're going to feel a lot better once it's all done. You'll have that feeling of accomplishment, and like getting things cleaned up and cleared out is also big. And being of service to a higher source, to the good of the all, to the collective. And also then we have that aligning with our karmic paths. Okay, everybody, so if you want to get in on that Virgo, I'm talking Virgo, I can't stop saying Virgo, but it's the Libra ingress, which is coming up in a couple weeks, and it's going to be available only till the end of this month. It's an astrology reading of the Libra ingress, as compared to your chart. But what it is, I do a bi-wheel, and it's a snapshot of the energy. And it's not just the 0 Libra point, it's everything that's going on is a snapshot of the energy, and it's for the next quarter, so basically from now till the end of this year of 2021, right? We're in 2021, yeah. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up. There's people ordering it all the time. That's why I pretty much have that Libra ingress chart memorized. All these ingress charts are very popular. And as far as I have other readings, I have the tarot readings and whatnot, but I also, as far as astrology, if you're interested in karmic astrology, past life, and your soul mission and what you're working on, that would be the soul reading, which is also a psychic astrology reading. But I have all sorts of things, books, decks, journals. So by purchasing my different wares, you also not only get something nice for yourself, but you also help me out. And thanks to everyone who hits that like button and that subscribe button. Before you post a comment or email me with a question, please check the description, because I have a very long description. Me being the Capricorn, I have a bunch of Virgo in my chart too. I'm born in the Pluto, Uranus, and Virgo generation. I have a bunch of asteroids in Virgo, so I try to be really, really thorough about putting all the information that you possibly could want to ask about where to get stuff or how to get a reading or different things. Read the description first, please, before emailing me and asking questions in the comments, because chances are I've already covered it and it's all listed below. All right, everyone, so thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, you're love and beauty incarnate. Have the best new moon in Virgo, and we'll talk to you again soon.